Alright, time for day 6. Let's go. I woke up because somebody was shaking my shoulders. It was too hard for me to open my eyes, so I just whined pathetically. Get up already, you're going to miss the lineup. Once I realized what Olga Dmitrievna wanted from me, and what time it was, I rolled over to face the wall. I was so tired that I wanted to choke the camp leader just so she would quit disturbing my recovery from a hellish yesterday. Simeon, get up immediately. I mustered up my strength, opened my eyes and sat up. Olga Dmitrievna, I understand, but I had a hard day yesterday. Can I sleep in at least today? I started pleading. It's out of the question. Lineup is mandatory for every pioneer, and you've already missed it a few times. My head went completely numb, so I just couldn't find any arguments against that. In a couple of minutes we were already standing at the square. I dozed off, taking great pains to not fall asleep on my feet, so I missed everything that Olga Dmitrievna announced. The majority of the pioneers seemed to feel the same. Electronic yawned constantly, Alyssa had huge baggy eyes, only Ulyana seemed to be full of strength, full of health and energy as always. I swept my eyes over the lineup yet again and couldn't find Lena. That's odd. Generally she's a diligent and committed girl, it's unlike her to miss such events. On the other hand, it was too much for her yesterday, such stress. She's probably depressed, although such behavior from her was very surprising. I mean, I'd suspected that she was not the kind of person she wanted others to see her as, but I never expected such a drastic change. Lena, amazingly, somehow reminded me of Alyssa. Really? Even more harsh and brutal at times. Really? And now I was not sure how to behave around her, I was simply afraid of her. Really? Finally, lineup was over and the pioneers dragged themselves off to breakfast. Mika caught up with me near the canteen. Simon, good morning. How did you sleep? Any dreams? How are you? Ready for breakfast? She as always blabbered without a break, adding a cute smile at the same time. I'm okay, I answered lazily. Today is quite gloomy, maybe because of the weather. It's quite dark, it may even rain. So yeah, everyone is sad and gloomy. I thought maybe something happened, but no one told me what. Can you imagine that? Something happened and everyone knows about it apart from me. I was sad about it, but then... Don't worry, you won't miss the end of the world. I delivered a snarky remark. Huh? It looked like she was so into her monologue that she was completely oblivious to everything around her. And if you are going to miss it somehow, I will make sure to let you know. Nothing. Enjoy your meal. I marched to the canteen with a firm step to get my daily portion of fats, proteins and carbohydrates. To my surprise, a seat in the far corner was free. I sat down and tried really hard to make a face that would let everyone know that there is really no need to come anywhere near me, unless there was an emergency. I just wanted to sit alone and think. Moreover, keeping my mind off other things was making me less sleepy. Hi, mind if I join you? I did not notice Slava standing there. Strange. Sure, I answered after hesitating for a second. Bad mood? A bit. Did something happen? Not really. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. There's nothing to tell you about. We kept eating in silence until I asked, where did you go last night? Me? Oh, I just wanted to be alone for a while. That's not like you. I felt a bit more lively. Really? Well, maybe. It's also not often that you are seen so gloomy. She might be right. even in the most unfavorable circumstances. I've always tried to have a positive outlook on things. Not that I was an optimist, I just always tried not to feel too down. Keeping my previous life in mind, it's only natural. As soon as you let depression get a hold on you, the news will start to look very appealing. Perhaps when Slavia was done with her meal, I was still poking the porridge with my spoon. I'll be going. By the way, have you seen Lena? No, why do you ask? I didn't see her at the morning lineup. That's odd. It's not like her. Maybe you're right. I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest. Yes, of course, I was just wondering. I sat for a few more minutes in place and then headed outside without finishing my breakfast. Today was quite gloomy, the first gloomy day during my time here. I'd kind of gotten used to the bright and burning sun. The heat that would only subside by the evening seemed to be an irreplaceable component of this place. It looks like even here the weather changes after all, almost like it's matching my mood. It looks like just more proof that this place or its creators are sentient and have great storytelling skills. How meta. Sometimes I really wanted to focus on a single theory of mine, concentrate on it and forget about all others, just to decide for myself that it's all done by aliens, or I am in a parallel universe, or witchcraft or military experiments. Just to pick one and be done with it, to stop thinking about all possible explanations to the situation, constantly jumping from one to another, just to focus on a single one. But it's impossible. I have almost no facts about anything. Nothing extraordinary has happened to me here yet. Yes, some odd things took place, but they can and do happen in the real world too. After yet another circle of similar thoughts, I found myself at the bus stop of the route 410 and the gates of the Camp Savionov. No answers, no hints, no clues. I was walking wherever my legs were taking me. It was quiet in the residential area, not a single person there, to be precise. My astonishment grew even more when Electronic appeared around the next turn. I wanted to call out to him but stopped because he was going a little too confidently in an unknown direction. It's strange that goes against his nature. Anyway, what can I talk with Electronic about? And yeah, I'd have to start the conversation first. Seems like I was completely in despair. However, it would be interesting to follow him and to find out where he is rushing to. As a child I liked games of spies, and here's a chance to put myself into a real spy's shoes. I decided not to sneak and hide in a special way and just tailed him quietly at a distance. Soon we came to the library. Electronic knocked and went inside. I stood behind a big tree so nobody could see me and began to wait. He was absent for quite a long time. Perhaps this was a stupid idea, because in fact what difference does it make if he went to the library? Maybe just decided to get something to read. He was walking fast, so what? Perhaps he has some business afterwards. My thoughts were disturbed by a loud door slam. I looked toward the library and saw Electronic running away from there and Zhenya, who ran after him, shouting along the way, "I don't want to hear it anymore, or to see you either." Okay. They ran past me, but naturally they were so involved in chasing that they didn't notice me. The whole situation seemed very funny, and I decided that I needed to find out what the matter was. I wonder where could Electronic be running to like that? Beats me, maybe to the clubhouse? Yes, it's quite obvious that he ran straight to his native cybernetics club. I entered without knocking but didn't find anyone inside. Electronic, it's me. The sound of footsteps came from the next room and soon Electronic himself appeared. Hi Simeon, I'm just... His eyes ran guiltily and his shirt had visible traces of sweat. Going in for sports, I see. Sprinting. Hi, you saw that? He asked, doomed. Yes, purely by chance, so I decided to stop by and ask how you were doing and what happened. Nothing special, really. Indeed, fleeing from an angry librarian, it's nothing. You can tell me. I smiled disarmingly. Really? You want you tell? Of course, silent as the dead. Cross my heart. It seemed I exaggerated there a bit, but looks like it had convinced him. Okay. He took a deep breath, gathering strength. You know, I've liked Zhenya since the first day. At those words I wanted to fall to the floor and start rolling around, shaken by violent attacks of laughter. But out of respect for him I refrained. Still, his next few words flew past my ears. And so I just decided, well, and you saw what happened next. A brave fellow indeed. Well, you try harder I guess, and you will succeed. I patted him on the shoulder, trying really hard not to laugh. Thank you for the support. He smiled sadly. Okay, I have to go, I have some work to do. I shot out of the clubhouse like a bullet and finally laughed out loud. However, if you think about it, Electronic and Zhenya would make a wonderful couple. They are actually a perfect match. It is strange that then the Zhenya rejected him. I was going towards the square, thinking further about this episode. At the end of the day, Electronic is not such a simpleton. Just like that, he declared his love, even realizing that refusal will follow. Or on the contrary, it's because he is just as simple as an apple pie. Either way, you can feel the honesty and sincerity in his behavior. More complicated people would spend hours, days, months, years thinking about how to present this in a better way, what consequences it would have, and whether you should even bother. I would do so myself. No, rather I have done so. But he just said it. Unsuccessfully, of course, but it could have also gone differently. These thoughts made me completely melancholy, so much so that the lunch signal, usually so anticipated, didn't trigger any emotions at all. The canteen was chock full. Seems that the camp was slowly emerging from the morning depression. Maybe the sun that had come out from the clouds contributed to that, or maybe something else that I'd missed while running after Electronic. Only the places next to Uliana and Elisa turned out to be free. I braced myself and started walking towards them. Eating was still a necessity. Can I sit with you? I'll just sit down. Why are you so gloomy? It's just that you are too cheerful. I'm trying to maintain the energy balance in the universe. Uliana giggled. Oddly enough, the girls did not pay any attention to me and talked about their own concerns. At first I thought it was good, but then I started to think that they were just taking no notice of me. By the way, where is Lena? Because of all my thinking I had completely forgotten about her. I don't know, Alisa answered absently. Has she still not appeared? As you can see. I took a look around the canteen but didn't see her anywhere. Nobody's heard anything about her? No. Don't you find it strange? What's so strange? Maybe she's reading, maybe sleeping or something. Seems more like you're talking about yourself. It's none of your business, is it? Alyssa interjected angrily. Well, if a person is missing, you weren't so worried when Shurik disappeared. That's quite different. Yes, and why, I wonder? I had no answer and just blankly looked at Alyssa before going back to my food. She did not insist on continuing the conversation. Lunch was over. I silently stood up and went out to the canteen without a goodbye. So, Lena disappeared. What should I do now? On the other hand, why should I do anything? Why me? Where am I and why am I here? Who are all of these people? One cannot be absolutely sure whether Lena is what she seems. Perhaps all this doesn't even exist, so why should I worry? However, for me now, Lena is still the same Lena. The modest, quiet girl I met on the first day. And even her strange behavior could not affect my attitude towards her. In the end, it's not certain that I still exist. So while the world is logical, at least to some extent, I have to play by its rules. I quickly went to the camp leader's cabin. Once inside, I saw Olga Dmitrievna lying on the bed and reading a book. Do you know where Lena is? No, why are you asking? She's nowhere to be found. She missed both breakfast and lunch. So what? She looked at me blankly. What do you mean, so what? When Shurik was gone, the whole camp was searching for him from the early morning. I don't understand you. There's something strange happening to the camp leader again. She was behaving absolutely incomprehensibly, illogically. Do you think it's normal? So where is she now? I don't know, Olga Dmitrievna replied calmly. This is too much. I started to lose my temper. Ask Miko, she's her roommate after all. It was a good idea, because obviously I would get no more answers here. I went outside, slammed the door, and went to look for Miko's and Lena's cabin. It was nice that the orchestra girl had told me before where she lives, which is why I was at the door of their cabin a minute later. I should have knocked, but for some reason I couldn't. After a few deep breaths, I knocked on the door several times. Come in. I heard a familiar voice. Hi, do you know where Lena is? No, I haven't seen her today. You're looking for her, right? Don't you think it's strange? By that time I'd started suspecting everybody of hiding information about Lena's location, of conspiracy, of involvement in me being here, of Kennedy's assassination, and of hundreds of other terrible things. Well, maybe I thought she went somewhere and then I just got lost in doing things. Breakfast, music club, helping to clean, then lunch, and then... Okay, I see. What about yesterday? Was everything normal? Well, she came late and immediately went to bed. I didn't even notice anything wrong. No chance of finding out anything here either. Thanks, I said abruptly and left. At that moment it seemed to me that the missing Lena was the only living person in this pack of talking dummies, and I had to find her. However, it seemed almost impossible to do this alone, so I went for help. Who would be most willing to help me? Of course, Slaga. I decided that at this time she would be engaged in cleaning something, for example the square. So I went there. My sixth sense didn't let me down. Hi. Have you seen Lena? No, why are you asking? Nobody's seen her since this morning. She was absent during breakfast as well as during lunch. Strange. I also think this is, to put it mildly, strange. Can you help me find her? Oh, sorry. Maybe later. I've got cleaning here to finish. It was like a lightning strike. I took a few awkward steps back and ran away from this place. No, that was not her. It was as if somebody had replaced her. Not only her, but also the other inhabitants of this camp. What is happening? And the strangest thing is that it doesn't have anything to do with me, but with Lena. Maybe she came here the same way as I did? Exactly. And that could be the reason why she behaves quietly most of the time. No, wait. wait, what about her knowing Elissa? No, something does not add up. My head was going to explode and I started to choke. After catching the breath, I looked around and found myself at a bus stop. I sat on the curb and covered my face with hands. If before nothing had really been up to me, what was going relatively smoothly, then now I was, as always, helpless, but the situation was totally different. Watching the battle fought from the side with no threat to your life and being on the hot spot without being able to help the ones you care about are two different things. I was just sitting. The time passed and the sun began to fall. Probably dinner has already started. Although, what's the difference? I still don't want to eat. I stood up and trudged back to the camp on rubber legs. As always, the only thing left is to wait. I decided to go to the beach. While everybody was at dinner, I could sit quietly and think there. Though what could I think about? Enough, maybe? However, my expectations were ruined. On the beach I met Zhenya, which greatly surprised me. You also come here? She looked at me from behind her glasses. Do you think I'm not a human being? No, I don't mean that. Then what do you mean? Nothing. By the way, have you seen Lena? No. I see. What do you want from her? Well, nobody's seen her since yesterday evening. Do you think that somebody could get lost in this camp? She laughed loudly. Shurik succeeded. And that was a special case. Those guys are too peas in a pod and you never know what to expect from them. I immediately remembered the morning incident. Tell me, why were you chasing electronic this morning? Zhenya got uncomfortable. It's none of your business. Just asking. Because he's a fool. She turned away after these words. Maybe you shouldn't be so strict towards him. Even to me it wasn't clear whether I'm defending electronic or just keeping the conversation going. Then how else should I treat him? Well, give him a chance. You know, such an act requires lots of courage. You say it as if it is something special, some kind of achievement. Would you be able to do that yourself? I thought and answered after a while. I don't know. Haven't had the right moment yet. I hope you'll have it soon. Zhenya said rudely and walked towards the canteen. I sat down in the sand and thought. True that, electronic was able-said. But can I do the same thing? That is the question, a big question. If I got the right moment, which and when. It's always easier to think about something ephemeral, to get ready for dozens of possible situations, to predict the following events for many steps ahead. But most of the time it all goes differently. Even a small event is enough to ruin all your plans. And if you're not ready to do it at any time, whenever, under any circumstances, if you're ready only when everything is exactly as you had expected, it is unlikely you'd ever get anything worthwhile. Therefore, the only correct answer to Zhenya's question was no. Not an ambiguous, uncertain, half-hearted or forced answer, just no. There is only a simple yes and a simple no. It's always been hard for me to understand that. Between these two extremes I've always worked in a great number of different answers, like maybe, perhaps, probably, if, and not sure, but if I will try. I was so absorbed with my thoughts that I didn't notice how the darkness stole across the camp. Under other circumstances I would have gone to sleep now, but looking for Lena at night was not a good idea. I got up and slowly wandered aimlessly. Soon the path led me to the sports ground. I stood there for a moment and was about to leave when I heard noises. Clap, another clap, something painfully familiar. There she is. I ran towards the volleyball court, saw Lena, who was unsuccessfully trying to hit the shuttlecock with the racket. I stood in shock for a long time. My head was completely empty. I just stood. I just looked at her and felt a sense of joy. Joy at finding her, joy at seeing her again. Finally I came to my senses and decided to approach. But after a couple of steps I stopped. And what do I say now? Glad I found you? Where have you been? I was worried. After yesterday's conversation, it's very unlikely she wants to see me. What if Lena asked me why I was looking for her? Why I was worrying? I didn't know why myself. Probably it's because she was absent for too long. Maybe if it wasn't her but some other person who I know, I'd have been worried the same way. Maybe if I'd behaved differently yesterday, she would not have disappeared today. I'm not sure, but I'll try to come up with something adequate. I took another step and stopped again. Probably, maybe, perhaps, not sure. Again and again these words appeared in my mind, in my life, unconsciously, without my will. But why? For what purpose? I have to make a decision once and for all. Although there are two simple words, yes and no. Finally it's all clear. I went to the court, approached Lena, smiled and said, "Hey." She turned and looked at me. "Hi. You were absent all day." "Yes, I was walking around." Everything she said was quiet and calm, with no trace of embarrassment or shyness, with no emotions at all, in fact. We worried about you, though the only one who worried was me. You shouldn't have. But you can't. You can't just disappear like that. I tried to smile to make my words not sound like a reproach. I don't think that anybody cares about that. I care for one. Why? I read surprise in her eyes. Because it's not right. No matter how I tried to be perfectly honest, it came out wrong. Ah, I see. Okay, I won't do this again. It seemed like this conversation was not interesting to her. Silence followed. I just didn't know what else to say, and Lena seemed to be quite content with the silence. "Are you any good?" I finally said, pointing at the racket. "Not very. If you want, No, I don't." She walked to the bench and put down her racket and birdie. "Okay." To tell the truth, I didn't expect that response. "Want to look at the stars together?" "Yes, of course." I sat down beside her. Lena intently studied the sky. Lots of small lights shined above me. Some of them were brighter, some were barely visible. I never really understood what people see in just sitting back and looking at the stars. After all, here on Earth they're just small dots of light, and it's unlikely that many people know what kind of celestial bodies they are, as well as their size and how far they are from us. Of course, it's so romantic to just enjoy the light of distant stars, but for me it was like staring at a brick wall. It also has its potholes, unevenness in the brickwork, patterns on the stone, a stellar sky in miniature. "So what do you see there?" "Stars," she said mysteriously, with her head up. "Yes, I know, I see them too. What's so special about them?" "I don't know. It seems that they talk to me. There are other people there. They have their own life, probably much better than ours. And they too look at the sky and see the earth, me and you, voices of the distant stars." I had already heard that somewhere else. "You can call it that. Interesting theory." No, the theory is quite common." Lena looked at me. In the dim moonlight I noticed a small tear rolling down her cheek. Or at least I thought I did. I guess I'm just a more, let's say, practical person. She said nothing, just stared at the sky again. But if you think about it, of course, there's endless interstellar space, millions of planets, hundreds of galaxies. It's fascinating. My voice sounded unnaturally excited. You don't need to talk about all these things. About what? About this? About everything? No, the stars are really beautiful. Why did you come? Now she was crying for sure. I was looking for you. Why? I don't know why. I just was. You found me. Happy now? Well, I mumbled. Why didn't you go to Alyssa? What does she have to do with it? Are you trying to say that it's not about her? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Why did you bring this topic up again? I thought we already cleared everything up. Of course we didn't clear anything up. To be precise, we didn't even start to. However, I don't understand why all this is necessary. You think I really want to talk about it myself? If you don't, then why? Because it's because of you. Because of me, what? You and Alyssa. Me and Alyssa, what? We don't have a relationship, we don't have anything at all. Don't lie to me. Lena turned away, sobbing quietly. Why is this so important to her? What else can I say if you don't believe me? Tell me the truth. I've already told you. Then go to her. Why should I go to her? I don't want to go anywhere. Why are you sitting here and torturing me? Oh Lord, how am I torturing you? Lena didn't answer. I've been looking for you the entire day because I was worried. I came here because you're here. I'm sitting here because I want to be here. What don't you understand? She stopped crying for a moment. Is that true? Of course. I mean something to you. Even taking into account all the things I've just said, this question came at me unexpectedly. Well, yes. If only you could hear yourself now. She cried, got up and walked briskly towards the end of the sports ground. Wait. I caught up with her and grabbed her arm that she pulled out of my grip. Don't touch me. Now Lena was a totally different person, and I couldn't say that she was aggressive, assertive, or super strong-willed. She just had no doubts about what she was doing. Wait, what did I say? That's all true. Save all this nonsense for her. I tried to stop Lena once again, but she glared at me so strongly that I didn't dare to argue. Just imagine how I feel. You make up a bunch of stupid things and now you think that I'm guilty of all mortal sins. Why should you care? I should. She stopped for a moment and looked at me. It's all lies. In my anger, I banged my forehead on an iron post. You can just beat yourself up here. I had seen Lena be many things, but not ruthless and indifferent. Wait, let's talk calmly. We have nothing to talk about. She crossed the football ground and I trailed behind, trying in vain to persuade her to listen to me. I don't know why I'm doing all this, to prove that I'm right, so I won't be misunderstood, so I'll look better in her eyes, or is there some other reason? In any case, at that moment I just felt that it was necessary. I came to the square. Lena was pretty fast, I could barely keep up with her. I had to say something. My head was filled with different options, but nothing suitable. Wait, no answer. Listen, no answer. Will you stop it? No answer. We'll wake up the whole camp. So what? What's the difference? Strange, but at that moment I was more worried about our behavior than Lena. She stopped. Thanks for accompanying me. I'll go alone now. Lena said bitterly. You haven't listened to me yet. To me it seems like I've already listened several times even. So what do you want from me? Me? From you? Nothing at all. She sounded much more confident than me. There was no trace of doubt in her eyes. What can I say? What can I do? Damn it. I was ready to burst into tears. Don't get so emotional. Nothing happened. Nothing happened? Something definitely happened. You won't lose anything if you pay no attention to me. Let me decide that. No, seriously, why? There are many pleasant activities you could choose to do. Well, to be honest, I don't need it anyway. If you don't need it, why do you constantly mention Alyssa? Lena's face changed. This is none of your business, get it? No, now it is my business. She looked at me as if she was ready to kill. Why are you bothering me? You have her, so go to her. She won't refuse, I assure you. Lena started screaming, her hair disheveled, her face flushed and her eyes bloodshot. Calm down, I won't go to her. Why would you even think so? Just see, I'm here now and I'm not going anywhere. She seemed to calm down a bit. What's going on here? I turned around and saw Alyssa lazily chewing a bun. In the wrong place at the wrong time. The situation is a perfect example. I just froze in surprise, not knowing what to say. But Lena was smarter. Time to pass him on. Catch! Alyssa looked surprised. No wonder she hadn't heard the entire conversation. What? I said catch. Within a moment Lena became like she was before, calm and unruffled. What should I catch? Him. She pointed her finger at me with disgust. He complains about how he loves you, how he can't live without you and stuff like that. What? Alyssa's eyes popped out open wide. No, that's all wrong. Lena is just joking. I giggled nervously. Why? That's exactly what's happening. Listen, everything has its limits, I said quietly to her. Do you want there to be victims? Why? I already suggested to you that you should go to her. I don't know what you're talking about here, but don't involve me. You don't know? Lena said it softly, but her voice had a trace of rage in it. The same thing again? Alyssa looked at her, frightened. Listen, I understand that you... well... but I don't know, really, not a single word, not even a single thought about him, I swear. You don't know. Oh! Lena jumped at her and before I realized smashed Alyssa with a powerful right hook. What the fuck? Well, I'd understand a simple slap, but such a blow could break someone's jaw. Alyssa collapsed and seemed to lose consciousness. What should I do? Do not interfere, help Alyssa. What does help Alyssa mean? Am I going to have to hurt Lena now? I hope not. But do not interfere, that would be just wrong. What are you doing? I ran over to the fallen girl and tried to figure out if she was still alive at all. Are you completely out of your mind? If you want me to leave, to shut up, or to do anything else, fine. But this is turning into a complete madhouse. Maybe you need a straitjacket so nobody else will get injured. Lena stood clenching her fist. You could even break your hand with such a blow. You don't understand anything. The tears welled up, flowing down her face, and she fled from the square. It seemed to me that I could still hear Lena sobbing while I was bringing Alyssa around. Finally she came back to consciousness. You alive? Are you okay? Alyssa moved her jaw from left to right. I live. I helped her up. I told you about her. Well, that doesn't matter now. You have to get to the infirmary. It's too late for infirmary. I'll have a good night's rest and in the morning I'll go there. Okay, then I'll go with you. I can't refuse, Alyssa said, trying to give me a smile. All the way we kept silent. She was probably not really able to talk, and I couldn't find the right words to say. All of this was a real shock to me. I found myself a mere spectator of a drama in which I just took on the main part. After the door closed behind Alyssa, I stood for a long time and looked at her cabin. What should I do after all this? Fatigue overcame me. I had to sleep. I think Lena is now in a state in which she is unlikely to adequately assess reality. Completely broken, I fell down onto the bed and drifted to sleep. Okay, one more day done, and day 7 will follow.